A very warm welcome to one and all present here. My name is Suhana Banerjee, and it gives me great pleasure on behalf of the IMA Christ University Student Chapter to introduce today's esteemed guest speaker, Mr. Jaywardhan Semwal. Mr. Jay has an illustrious academic and professional background. Having completed his undergraduation in mechanical engineering from the National Institute of Technology, Jay went on to complete his master's in business administration or MBA, specializing in finance from XLRI. Having achieved his professional certification in the Certified Management Accountant or CMA from the Institute of Management Accountants or IMA in 2018, he went on to become a global board member of IMA. Now I would like to invite Christine to take over.
Good evening. With over 20 years of experience in areas of automotive design, power plant engineering, corporate finance, international banking, finance, as well as financial planning and analytics and robotic process automation, Mr. Jay is truly the tech guru of the techno-finance world. Mr. Jay has held key leadership roles in various prestigious institutions such as JE Capital, ICICI Prudential, ICICI Bank, Prudential Financial, as well as Havel Packard. Jay is currently leading HP Enterprises as the WW leader, corporate financial accounting. Jay has a rich industrial experience and has taken up various leadership and technical skills, has showcased his leadership and technical skills, as well as cross-cultural and geographical exposure, makes him a true inspiration for many of the young minds listening to today's session. We would once again like to thank him for setting out time from his busy schedule to give us this opportunity to converse, understand, as well as learn. We hope that at the end of today's session, our viewers will have greater clarity regarding CMA, future job prospects, and much more. So without further ado, let's kickstart the session. Sir, as Suhana mentioned, you did start off with a more technical background, having done your undergraduate degree in engineering, but then you did go on further to do your master's in a more commerce-based finance background. So, sir, I would like to ask, what was the reason for this career trajectory change?
Sure. First and foremost, many thanks to the Christ University for this opportunity. I'm very pleased to be here to share my thoughts and some of my, I would say, life learnings, right? We all learn as we progress through by virtue of either our educational experiences, our work experiences, and many a time our own personal experiences. So I believe that life is a lifelong learning journey. So thank you so much. I really look forward to this interaction. And I personally feel that while many of the team members within Christ may find it of value, I personally find it of a tremendous amount of value to be able to interact with you all, which I believe are the future of finance here in India or maybe in the world. So I consider myself very fortunate that I got this opportunity. And as you rightly mentioned, Christine, I did not start my career in the finance field, right? I think just to reflect on my journey, it's a little bit nostalgic when I speak to you. Like any other aspiring young individual in India in 90s, I was also looking at building a long career into my chosen primary education field, which was engineering. So I did graduate in mechanical engineering, and I did work for 5 years. So for 1 year, I worked with Larsen and Toubro. All of you would know, being here in India, a large enterprise into the engineering space. And after that, I worked for 4 years in a company called Fiat Automobiles, which was in the car manufacturing and then later into tractor manufacturing. And when I was going through that journey, and in the process, I also did my post-graduation into automobile engineering. And at some point of time, I was thinking that maybe automobile is where I want to take my career forward, right? And I looked at doing some more qualification because I always believed that we should continue. To my point earlier, it's a lifelong learning that we go through. So I always believed that we should keep on investing into our education. So at that point of time, people of my age, my background, they were all exploring, I would say, multiple educational opportunity. Two big ones, I don't know how is this space today in the student fraternity, but at that point of time, either we'll go for doing our higher studies in engineering to one of these great and top US universities, which is generally called Master of Science. And the other stream we end up taking is if you want to go the business route and take some of these big business schools that we have got here in India. And when I was trying to explore the next course of educational avenue for me, I was exploring, and I always felt that you should always keep your plans open. So I was exploring a higher Master of Science degree into something around computer aided design in automobile engineering, or parallelly, I was also pursuing through some of these big business school here in India. And fortunately for me, I did get selected in both these streams. I did get admission into a few of these top US universities for Master of Science, and also got admission into some of these top business schools here in India for MBA. And what prompted me to choose MBA is then I asked myself a question: what would I like to be? What would I aspire to be? Do I want to have very deep knowledge, depth of knowledge? I want to go more broad. And then I also discussed with my father at that point of time, who was into a very senior government position. And he also kind of encouraged me that look at breadth of knowledge, because he felt that if I do computer aided design, I'm just going deep into mechanical engineering domain, while he felt that if you do a business education, that is something I did not have or did not acquire earlier. So that prompted my decision to go for my MBA. And after doing my MBA in finance, I did my career switch from what we call mechanical engineering to the world where we are today, which is finance. Started my career more on corporate finance, banking side, but over a period of time moved into more core accounting kind of roles. So that's my little story, Christine, to begin with. Thank you for the question.
Yes, sir. I think definitely parents are like a guiding force, and obviously that sort of kind of expanded your entire reach. But so one question we do have is that even today, many students come in from the engineering backgrounds and move into the commerce fields. So do you believe that that kind of gives them a technical skill advantage over most students who come from the commerce areas?
I would not say that is the case. Mostly why engineering students end up preferring, I believe, because that is what I did. It is all about numbers, right? When you are into an engineering kind of education, you're already very comfortable with numbers. And when you look at finance, the comfort with numbers is the most important thing for anybody to be a successful finance professional, right? If you ask me, the technical advantage depend upon the person's aptitude. I have seen many engineers who did not feel that they want to make a career into technical field, and they end up going the other way. Many of them even choose the IAS route and become more administrative. And I have also seen many of my colleagues who would have been into more core finance and, let's say, commerce or economics background, and they have a great technical knack. I think it is all about aptitude. If you ask me, the only advantage an engineering qualification per se have is it is technical in nature. So we do go through some of the things. For example, when I'm in my engineering college, the first year is a very common year where we do study a lot of statistics and computer engineer, and then we do have friends who are into that particular field, and then you have that little bit of an aptitude. But I don't think engineer have got any distinct advantage to be a successful techno finance professional. I think it's all about a particular individual's own will, on aspiration, and own willingness to invest his or her time into learning these new things. If somebody really want to get into something called techno finance, right? And I have seen many accountants also being very, very strong on some of the technical aspect of the technology.
Mhm. Yes, I think I agree with you with regard to the fact that at the end of the day, I think it's how much effort we put in and whether we try to acquire some skills.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, what are those kind of skills that could kind of give us a competitive advantage in today's world?
To my fraternity here, I would say that the first and foremost thing that I believe is very important for all of us to have is a positive attitude. See, we can learn, right? So suppose we get a new job, we get a new field, we will put in effort and we will learn the art of that particular field, business, game. but positive attitude will take us miles, because what positive attitude will do and does, because we are in an ever-changing world. And I think whatever we all have gone through as humanity for the last 2 years have only added more thrust to my belief that the change is always accelerating. I think COVID is only going to accelerate some of the changes, already have accelerated. So I think things will never remain same. Things will change. And when things change and we have positive attitude, we start looking at the positive side of the change. Even I have believed that even worst of the changes in life, which looks very, very worse, end up having something positive in them if you start looking at it. So to me, I think in the softer side attitude is very important. I feel that we should keep an open mind. We should keep an open mind to learn. And what I always believe that it is not only about keeping an open mind to learn, we should be also open to unlearn. See, learning new things is always easy. It is always difficult to give up what we have learned throughout our life so far. Sometimes we got to unlearn what we have learned in the past to create that space in our mind frame to be able to accept newer things. So that is the second softer aspects I would touch upon. If you ask me from a hard aspect perspective, I believe in finance and accounting world, whatever was rule based, right? For example, most of our accounting standards are rule based. They are all are either already automated or will get automated, because machines will do that. For example, if I give you an example from my organization, I manage the accounting for HPE, which is $30 billion of revenue, but hundreds and billions of dollars of balance sheet, right? I do have 100 plus bots doing accounting for me. These bots are pretty much like us. They also have got an employee ID. So every team member working for HP has got employee ID. Same with our bots. The bots, they also report into a manager. So they are pretty much mimicking all the human actions. So what I believe, whatever is rule based will get automated. So we should work on building our skills on what we call on the analytical sides. Now, analytics is a very broad word. In the end, it is all about our basic instinct of being inquisitiveness. We should always be asking questions, right? That is how, if you see again to my point on learning, Christian, you would agree that we all have learned by asking questions when we were very, very small. And what happened that as we grow up, by virtue of a whole lot of biases that creep into us, we stop asking questions. But when we were a kid, when we were very innocent, we used to ask all these questions to our parents, and they used to also very patiently respond to all our. That is how we were learning. So I think that inquisitiveness skills is something that we have to continue to build. We have to continue to ask why, how, when, and that is how we build what we call in our business what business insights. Because every business leader is looking at their finance partner to not only help them be honest, help them adhere to the rules of the land, adhere to all the SEC and other regulatory bodies requirements. They are also looking at them to advise, consult, how can they grow their business the right way. I think in today's DNA, in today's world, growing the business with integrity is absolutely important, because every big enterprise understand that the moment we lose the path of integrity, there is a big risk to our reputation. And reputational risk is one of the biggest risks that any large enterprises like ours run, and we never want to compromise on that. So that is why our business leaders look at finance on enabling them help to win the business the right way. And if we really want to consult, then we got to build that business understanding. We got to understand the business nuances. And how do you do that? You always do that by asking, probing. So that is what I would say. Let's keep on improving our analytical skills, but to be more specific, our skills of being able to probe into any situation, any scenario, and then being able to provide alternatives. Because there is no perfect solution. In this changing world, there is no one answer to a question. A question may have multiple answers, and there is no one solution to a particular problem, may have many solutions. So every business leader is also looking at getting alternatives. The scenario A can't work for you. Maybe the scenario B can work. Maybe the scenario C can work. Because the moment we provide that, a leader has got more options. And his chances, the moment the leader has got more options, his chances of taking the right decision and winning in the marketplace, it expands multifold. So that is my perspective on this, Christine.
Yes, I think it's the COVID especially was a period of a lot of learning, unlearning, and
Yeah.
understanding that the world is drastically changing. And I think so that the whole idea of asking questions is something that I see a lot in terms of the questions. I feel like coming into the further parts of the interview, we do have a lot of questions coming in from the students who want to ask you a little bit more about the CMA degree especially. And
Sure.
with that in mind, so as mentioned by Suhana, you did do your master, did do the professional degree in CMA in 2018.
Yeah.
And so, like, in what manner has the CMA degree sort of given you, has helped you in terms of your career, especially at HP, where you have been working for the past 15 years?
Sure. So I think let me first tell you why did I choose CMA, right? When I had to take that decision to go for, and this was my qualification over and above whatever I had achieved, right? And I had a choice point. I would have gone for CPA, I would have gone for ECCA, I would have gone for CIMA. We have all these options, right? So being an analytical mind, what I told myself that let's not do something which is in the public accounting domain, because the role, excuse me, the role at which I was at that point of time in HP was very strategic in nature, right? And to my point earlier, public accounting is very rule-based. I always feel that whatever is rule-based, technology will do a better job than human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when I thought that let me do something which is more strategic in nature. And then I thought that maybe my company, the US-based company, let me look for a US-based qualification. Because if I look between a CMA vis-a-vis any other qualification that we have got in that space, it's a US-based organization. Many a time that creates an opportunity from a learning perspective. But more specifically, what I liked about the course is it is more strategic in nature. Because the moment we talk about management accounting, the word management is very strategic in nature.
Mm-hmm.
What does management mean? Management means that we should be in a position to advise top management, to my point earlier, on how can they win in the marketplace the right way. And I thought this curriculum will give me or will make me better adapt to provide those insights to my leaders here within my current organization also. And I think it was very apt for me because the moment I did my CMA qualification, I got my current role, which is hardcore accounting, right? And my current role also required me to be more professionally qualified, right? While I had the qualification by virtue of MBA Finance, I had mechanical engineering, automobile engineering post-graduation, but sometime in our accounting world, we need professional certification. So professional certification was kind of a, I would not say must, but was a preferred thing for my current role. So in a way, me becoming a professionally qualified accountant may have helped me get my current role and definitely has helped me to be more successful in my current role because the moment I have that background of management accountant, to my point earlier, I'm able to ask right questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to ask right questions to my business partners. I'm able to ask right questions to my team members because many a time when you are a leader in an organization, your team members are also depending upon you to build a long-term sustainable career. And many a time that happens by virtue of you asking them the right question. Because when you ask them the right question, that forces them to think through. And in that entire process, they learn. So I think this certification and qualification has helped me a lot in my current role. I am, I think, more effective in my current role if I would not have gone for my CMA certification. So I'll put it that way, Christine.
So actually continuing on further with this question is, so you did take up the degree a bit more later into your career, but obviously, so you did substantiate it with regard to the leadership roles and how it helped you kind of ask the right questions and help with your leading your team. But many of us here at Christ University, especially the strategic finance program, do integrate it into the course. So we would be doing it simultaneously with our undergrad. Do you believe that that would give us an advantage, or what was your opinion about that, and how would that benefit us?
Yeah, I can share my personal story here. Maybe that will help all of you get some perspective. I think, in fact, this was published in our IMA Strategic Finance magazine. Also, there is a part there which is called IMA Live, and they put a put a little note on this. And the journey goes like this, Christine. So I thought I did my B in mechanical engineering, then I did my post-graduation in automobile engineering. I did my MBA in finance from one of these top-notch universities here in India. Then I'm done with my education, right? So then I told you that I changed my career from engineering to finance. Initially, I started my career into corporate finance, international banking, and then I moved to HPE. My initial roles within HPE and HPE was more on financial planning analysis and reporting kind of roles. And then over a period of time, my roles started to become more and more accounting heavy.
Mhm.
Sometime in 2013, I still remember the year, I was in Kuala Lumpur. Then I was posted out of Kuala Lumpur at that point of time, and I was having a career conversation with my manager. And then my manager told me, Jay, I like you. You're a very hardworking individual. You're very committed, but you're not qualified. And that kind of took me aback because I thought I'm overqualified, right? But then he corrected himself. He told, don't get me wrong, but I mean that you're not professionally qualified in accounting. You have a great degree in finance, but that is MBA. Then you have before that you have got a great degree in engineering. But in accounting world, many a time when you have to progress forward, you need professional certification. So that to me, that was my trigger point to start looking for professional certification. If I would have known that I would need professional certification at some point of time in my career, I would have been done with my CMA right at the time when I was doing my MBA. So my thinking is try to do it as early as possible because doing these kind of qualification along with job is not easy. Right? It is always very difficult because you have to carve out time. But when you are, and then also you lose touch, right? After you stop studying for some time and again to restart is far more difficult than doing it in the same momentum.
Mhm.
To ask me if I have to redo it, I would have done my CMA right at the time of when I was doing my MBA.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that insight. So just one thing is that after doing the CMA, certain skills that we do acquire educationally as well as you probably mentioned, analytically also, what are some areas in the business environment where or in the business peers that we would be applying those skills? Could you give us some insights into that as well?
So can you elaborate on your question a bit? So let me reflect. What you are asking me is whatever we learn in, let's say, the certification that we call CMA, how do we apply it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, very interesting. So in fact, I was in dialogue with one of the professors from IIM Calcutta. I think it was on this Sunday. And I was asking him, hey, professor, you are teaching us, let's say I was into a class with him and he was teaching something. And he was saying that, how do you apply it to practice? So he gave a very candid answer. He said, Jay, we are academicians. Our job is to teach you concept. Our job is to teach you theory. It is your job to figure out how do you apply, right? So I think the courses like any professional certification, like the course that you are going through the Christ University, they will help us making our concept strong. They will make us conceptually strong. They will make us understand all these finance and accounting domain from a concept perspective better.
Yes.
And then how do we apply that learning into our own job is totally up to us. We can apply it very effectively, or we may be able to apply it ineffectively. How do I do it? I can tell you. So I think, see, my education dynamics is multifolded, right? So I did my mechanical engineering, learned a lot from that. Then I did my automobile engineering, learned a lot from that. And I did my MBA in finance, learned a lot from that. Same thing with CME. I think all these courses have made me conceptually stronger. So I am able to understand the underlying concept or theoretical concept in a business problem. Let me give you an example. So you know that, I don't know how many of you know that today the world is facing a severe memory crisis, chips crisis, right? The computers, which they work on a concept called integrated chip. So because of COVID and other factors, there's a huge supply constraint in the world for chips. And these supply constraints are impacting companies like ours, which is technology, and also car companies, because our state-of-the-art cars today have got chips inbuilt. So when you have these kind of constraints, And as a business, I know this is a supply constraint. So I have got an accounting understanding. The first thing that will come to my mind, hey, it is going to get me some kind of an inventory challenge. So that means all the challenges somewhere will start reflecting into my balance sheet or PL into my when we account for inventories, right? The other thing which will come to my mind is how do we optimize? See, and if you have a limited supply, the game is all about optimization, right? So if I am a smart accountant, if I understand my accounting concept and if I understand my business, I will go to my business leader and I'll tell, hey, CEO, we have this challenge on our balance sheet or P&L. This challenge reflecting this way. This is what we can do differently, and I'll give him 3 or 4 scenarios to work on. And then if I am a smarter accountant in HPE vis-a-vis, let's say Dell, my HPE CEO will take better decisions than Dell CEO and will win in the marketplace. So that is the kind of power we finance and accounting professionals have because of 2 reasons. First, we have all the access to the data. The teams which has got the maximum access to data in any enterprise of finance, because our data access is at the highest level. And because we have got that much of a data access, if we can apply our knowledge and look at that data and provide proactive insights to our business leaders, I think we will be in a great position to take our profession forward. That is how I look at it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So I think one thing is that obviously since you have such a diverse background, that's definitely given you sort of conceptual knowledge that you're able to apply, and definitely that's seen through this amazing profile that you have and all your achievements, sir. So actually one question that I think we all have right now is many of us are planning to go ahead with regard to further studies. So many of us are looking at either an MBA or a CPA or a CFA and some other professional courses as well. And some people are under the dilemma of whether they should probably work for a couple of years, kind of figure out what it is. So what would be your suggestion with regard to this question?
See, success in career doesn't have only one route. I think we have got enough examples where people end up reaching their goals by taking multiple routes. I think it is all about the route that we want to take, the situation we are into. To my point earlier, Christine, qualification is never enough. The more we invest into ourselves, so if somebody is asking me CPA, CMA, CIMA, ECL, can you do all? Doing all also will take a toll, but I think many people do that also, right? For example, I did my MBA in finance and then I did my CMA. I may be doing something else. We have got enough examples where people have done CPA, they have done CIMA, they have done CMA, they have done Indian CA, ICWA. I think investing in education is, I was telling, I'm already doing a course with IM Calculator. I was talking to the professor the other day. So I think investing in education is never enough. The more you invest, the more benefit you will reap. The only question we got to ask ourselves is what worked best for us and what is the time frame, what is the timeline? Maybe what worked best for me 20 years or 25 years back was to do my MBA in finance first. And then I had a natural career journey and then I moved into my professional accounting. Had I known, I would have done some of these things earlier also. So I think there is no one answer to this question, Christine. To me, all the qualifications, any kind of education that we get, is all very, very good, very, very important, very essential. It is all about what do we want. So if I give some parallel, right? If you want to make a career more into, let's say, providing more business insight to business leaders, right? Working with business leaders, running this organization, maybe management accounting is a course to look for. But if you want to go into more into investment banking, maybe there's a call called CFA. That may be more to look for. It's all about the kind of career that we want to do. But also, there are outliers there also. I have seen a whole lot of successful investment banker coming from an accounting background. And I have seen a whole lot of successful CFOs coming from an investment banking ground. Generally, CFOs and controllers roles are more accounting driven, and your banking roles are more CFA driven. But people have done enough career crisscrosses. So I think what you should do. You should do some kind of a self-assessment, some kind of a soul searching, and try to understand what works best for you from a career perspective, and then go for that particular qualification.
Yes, sir. So as you have been mentioning since the start, I think the world is changing drastically, and so is education. So I think my question is a bit directed towards that area, is that Education is definitely changing. And what my question is, how do you believe, like, can you see this change? And what is your like perspective of the fact that we are doing an integrated CMA, and would that give us a kickstart, into this changing environment?
No, I think I told you, right? If I would have known some of my career journey, I would have done my CMA right at my MBA, maybe at my engineering itself. In fact, I have a friend who did his CA along with the engineering, right? I think doing it early is always advantageous because then you have the knowledge pretty much at the beginning of your career. I think all these integrated courses are always very advantageous. So I would encourage all of you to make best use of it from a learning perspective. To your point earlier, it is the concepts which is very important. Do not do it just for the sake of getting the certification. Do it with the passion for learning. The moment you do it for the passion of learning, all these educational tools will make you a better professional from the perspective of finance and accounting knowledge. And I think knowledge will always be the power. I know most of the knowledge may get driven through automated machines in future, but Homo sapiens, human beings, will find better ways of using our knowledge to something higher from a contribution perspective. So I think that is how I look at it. So I think integrated courses are always beneficial in my mind.
Yes, sir. So like obviously that you have such a vast knowledge and so much wisdom that you're giving us, and it's honestly a big take back for all of us. So, but I think we would like to believe that you have reached this point of success, the epitome of success at this point, and I believe that there would be a long list of supporters who have supported you through this journey. So could you give us a bit of insight into who was your biggest supporter or mentor in this journey?
You're bang on, Christine. A very, very long list, right? I think some of the supporters we remember because they may have been our family members. Many of the supporters that I got in my journey so far, I just remember them. I may not have spoken to them for years, but I'm always filled with gratitude, right? But if you ask me, the support for me always started from my family, right? When I was a small kid, my mother, my father, they always supported me on whatever way I wanted to take my education, right? I don't think they ever forced any of their desires. I started studying after my 12th. I decided to go for my engineering. I think that was also my own choice. At every point of time, my family supported me. So that started with my mother and father and my siblings. I have a younger brother and sister. They all have been a great support to me. But then after I got married, after that, it is my wife and my son. They have been a great support. Because whenever you have to do these additional qualifications, so for example, you mentioned that I did my CMA only in 2018. At that point of time, my son was 7 years of age, right? And he also was looking for my time. So whatever time I invested into CMA, that is the time I took away from my wife and my son. So they, along with me, they also sacrificed. So they have been a great support to me as I keep on furthering my ambition to learn more and more. So I would say my family definitely is a big support, but there are so many people who supported me throughout my journey, be it my teachers when I was doing my schooling, be it my professors when I was doing my engineering, again, my professors when I was doing my post-graduation in automobile, my professors when I was doing my MBA, again, my professors and some of the mentors when I was doing my CMA, and then my work experience. All my managers have been great managers, right? Some of them have been tough taskmaster, but I know whenever they taskmaster me, it was only for my good, right? All my managers. And beyond that, I have had many mentors in my life. So whenever I was looking for anything, I never shied away for what I call reach for help. So my another advice to all of you is whenever you are into any kind of situation, do not shy to ask for help. Many a time we get nervous and we shy away to ask for help. Always ask for help. I have been always asking for help in my life whenever I need, and by virtue of that, I have had innumerable mentors. So I think the amount of supporters, mentors I have got has been so many in my life, and I want to use this forum today because you asked me that question to thank all my supporters, all my whatever they have given so far in my life. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a wonderful answer. Like we honestly, like I felt it, yeah, we hope that we also continue to receive that kind of support when we also move along the journey. So just a couple of last few questions is, so you are presently one of the global IMA members. So obviously IMA is such an acclaimed body, and through the CMA professional degree, we do get membership into an institution such as this. So how can we make maximum use of the IMA membership?
I think that IMA membership is a wonderful tool. I can tell you my own personal story here. So more than IMA board, I'm also an IMA member like many of you. And by virtue of that, I get access to all the, first and foremost, we have to do those 30 CPE credits, right? Those 30 CPE credits force me to learn 30 hours of newer things. So the amount of learning that I have got into this fintech space, you was talking about my career, more techno finance career, the amount of learning that I have got into fintech space through these IMA webinars, IMA CPE courses, through various IMA forums, and then a whole lot of learning on how the world is changing from a future of accounting perspective, be it the topic like sustainability accounting, be it topic like how do we integrate the accounting systems across the world, how can we really look at accounting in the artificial intelligence world. And in fact, one of the very good seminar that IMA did was around this concept of ethics in AI.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many of you heard Satya Nadella when he was here in India. He was giving a talk and he was saying, I kind of totally relate to that. His biggest worry with artificial intelligence is bias. Even artificial intelligence can be biased. We would not believe that computers can be biased, but that is a possibility. To him, that is the biggest worry. For us, the biggest worry now is how do we control AI? How do we, so we know how do we do a control governance, and processes are more human driven. We got to figure out how do we create control mechanism and processes are more artificial intelligence driven, right? The amount of learning that I have got through this forum is huge. The value that we get by virtue of that IMA subscription is huge. I'll highly encourage each one of whether you go for not, it is your personal choice. But if you are an IMA member, my personal recommendation is continue with that, because the kind of investment that IMA is doing in giving its members that future view, in my plain mind, is quite significant.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that. Definitely, I think, again, it comes back to the thing that continue learning and continue asking questions and continue learning. So just one final question, and I think with this, we would be done with the questions, is that many of us are preparing for the CMA exam, and at the same time, some have completed their exams. What would be your advice to us students?
So my point earlier, Christine, do not look at all these exams just like exams, right? You prepare for it, you try to get those marks, you get either passing marks, you get with the A+ grade. To me, exams also is a way of keep on imbibing that core learning. Always look at each exam to ensure that it helps us better your concepts. Because if you start to look at exam from a concept perspective, then your learning is lifelong.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, what will happen the moment you pass the exam, you forget.
Yeah.
That has been my learning. All those exams in my life which I just studied only for the sake of passing or getting marks, I have forgotten. But all those subjects in my life that I did with passion, with the understanding of ensuring that I can imbibe the learning, that helped me make my concept stronger in those fields, those areas, and then that becomes a lifelong learning.
Yes,
so my recommendation is look at exams more from a learning perspective rather than just looking at it from a grade perspective. If you look at it from a learning perspective, even you will end up getting a better grades. I have been a top grader, maybe been fortunate in my life, but most of the time I feel that I was that in most of the subject because I look at the subject more from a concept perspective, more from the learning perspective, rather than just going there and taking the exam to get marks. So my recommendation is look at it more for learning than going there and cracking those questions and getting your qualification marks or getting your marks for your merit, whatever you would want to achieve. But look at it more for learning and making your concept stronger, because that will help you in the longer run.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that. And definitely that's a very big take back, that it's not just about giving an exam for grades, and we'll definitely try to
2016, nobody now asks me how much did I get in my standard 10, standard 12, how much did I get in my MBA, BE, CMA. I get tested all the time for my concepts. As long as, to my point earlier, as long as I'm asking the right question, people know, yeah, the person knows his content. I think that is what is important. Yeah. Okay.
So just one second. Sorry, sir, we just wanted to confirm about the time this thing. So basically we, as I had mentioned, and you had mentioned, sir, that it's about asking questions, and we did get a few of our students to kind of put forward their questions to you. So this, sir, this is sort of a bit of a rapid fire round about their queries. So I think we did get quite a bit long list of questions, but I think due to time constraints, we cap it to 3 questions.
Sure.
So the first question is that how does the CMA degree help with foreign placements and job opportunities?
To my point earlier, it's a US-based qualification. So all the large US enterprises recognize CMA with high regards, right? And because an international qualification is globally recognized. And definitely when you have a globally recognized qualification, your chances to get more broader roles across the globe are higher when you are having qualifications which are more country specific.
So the next question by a student is, sir, I just wanted to know if CMA will help me get a job, or is it more oriented towards helping me get promotions once I land my job?
See, job and career, right? I think this, I get asked this question all the time, Christine, not only from my accounting fraternity, because I do other roles also. I think, to my point, earlier, qualification help us learn, right? Now, what do we do with that learning to make our careers totally up to us? So in the end, our long-term sustainable career will depend totally on us, whether we really learn those concepts strongly enough, or we just pass the exam. If we just pass the exam, at some point of time, our concept will be tested, and then we may lose with the competition. Because in the end, it's a competitive world, right? We have got limited opportunities, and we have got lots of, in a country like India, the competition is huge. It is all about how I can beat the competition. So I think additional qualification always gives you the tools to beat the competition, right? Do they assure and guarantee other long-term sustainable career? Absolutely not. But will they help us get the right kind of a career direction, maybe right kind of a break in our career if we have been persistent enough? Absolutely yes, right? But we can't just be depending upon our certification to build long career. Long career will build upon our capability to keep on learning. To my point earlier, keep on learning and unlearning. But what I have seen, that professional qualification many a time may give us some good career breaks. They may give us some good career break because of those qualifications, also because of the networking that we generate when we go for those kind of qualifications. So for example, I run a internship program, right? And I run an internship program for professionally qualified people who are going for their professional qualification, right? The moment somebody is an intern with HPE, the person's chances of getting full-time job with HPE is way more than anyone else who is not an intern with HPE. So sometimes these kind of qualifications create that opportunity also. I think same, all these professional qualifications has got this very good mechanism of internship. And I think internship is one of our chosen way or proven way of getting fresh talent into our organization.
Yes,
so
sir.
I think those are the kind of benefits that we get, up to us whether what we want to do with our job and our career.
Yes, sir. So I think, sir, this is a bit of a personal question that I wanted to, like, this is a question that I had in mind is, as you had mentioned, we study a lot of these topics conceptually. And when we are looking for internships and we're trying to find the area that we fit in, how do we actually recognize that? Like, how do we know that this is the area that my specialty, that is in terms of CMA, would be in line with what the company would want?
Yeah, sometimes it is hit and trial also, Christine, because the world is so big. You have got so many functions that you can explore, right? Many a time at the start of our career, we may not know. Sometimes we take a leap of faith, right? So long time back, I took a leap of faith and joined Larsen and Toubro. Did that for some time, then I realized, no, I need to do something else. Then I did something else. So sometimes it is also a little bit of a trial and error, because to my point earlier, every single human being or every single financial accountant will have a different career path. No two individual will have a similar career path or same career. They may have similar but not same career path. So I think my encouragement is whenever you come to join your money, whenever you do first job, do it with an open mind.
Yep.
Go there, maybe choose a department. Maybe first you for some people, function is important. For some people, organizations are important, right? For some people may say that, I want to really join, I'm an accounting professional, but I want to join a technology company. Some people may say I'm an accounting professional, I want to join an more core industry, let's say an automobile company. For them, then company becomes more important. Some people say that, I'm a core accountant, I want to be in a control and governance kind of job. So for them, then organization is not important, the role is important. So different people will have, and then what will happen, Christine, if I take 1 minute, suppose I choose control and governance as my path. And I say I get control and governance in a automobile company, let's say Maruti in India, right? I will do that job. And after a point of time, I may move into, let's say, Dell. Same control and governance functions. I will do a different industry. And suddenly I realize, I have done enough control and governance. Now I should do business advisory roles. Then I'll shift. That is how people keep on building their career. Because in your career span of, let's say, 40 years, you will not do one role. You will do minimum, I would say, 15 to 20 roles. So in the end, if you ask me, we all will end up doing pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Many a time it doesn't matter from where did we start. What matters is where did we take that journey forward. So you can either go through the role way or you can go through the industry way. You may end up converging in the same direction or may still build a long-term career for yourself. So I think careers are always multifolded because opportunities are always many. It is all about how do we really prepare ourselves for them.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that. So with that, the rapid fire round is also over. I just wanted to say there were so many takebacks, whether let it be with regard to learning and unlearning or acquiring those analytical skills or embracing change, as you mentioned, sir. And most importantly, asking questions, probing questions, and thinking of the CMA degree or education as a whole as not just about the certification of the degree, but going beyond that and focusing on learning. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Akshar Chowdhury, who would be giving the vote of thanks. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I hope you had a good time and you enjoyed the questions.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a great time. Christine is a very good host and the questions were really great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'll read out the vote of thanks and
Sure.
On behalf of IMA Christ, deemed to be University Student Chapter, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our speaker, Mr. Jaywardhan Semwal, for taking his precious time to share his rich expertise with us. It was indeed an insightful session. Thank you, sir. I take this opportunity to acknowledge the efforts of the management, Christ deemed to be University, for supporting us to host this interview. I would also like to thank our Dean, Dr. Tommy K. Kalarekal, and HOD, Dr. Theresa Nithila Vincent, for their constant support and guidance in our initiatives. I thank our program coordinators, Dr. Lakshmi B, and academic coordinator, Dr. Sunil MP, for being supportive and assisting us in conducting this interview. Thank you, Dr. Rishikesh KB, for helping us with this initiative and supporting us throughout. I also thank the tech team for their efforts in organizing this webinar. Once again, I thank our speaker, the faculty members, and all the students watching this. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts and mind and acknowledge your efforts to join and share such an insightful journey and answer these questions. It's very kind of you, and I hope you enjoyed your time with us.
Thank you so much. I also enjoyed it, learned a lot, and thank you for the opportunity. You all take care. Thank you. Bye.